Hi, my name is Leisha Murphy, and I am a co-owner and lawyer at Connect Family Law.
I'm Alex Boland, and I'm a humble lawyer that works with and for Miss Murphy over here.
So, Alex, it's back to school time, and that brings up lots of issues around expenses.
Indeed.
Such as winter jackets, laptops, pencils, binders, sometimes school uniforms, and who pays for what?
It's a perpetual question, and one that generates an amazing volume of emails every year, for me at least.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so when I'm thinking about this, there's kind of two categories that tend to come up. The first is what we call special and extraordinary expenses, and what people would think of as being the really big stuff. So hockey season starts, we need to get new equipment, we need to pay for club fees, all that sort of stuff. We call those Section 7 expenses, special and extraordinary expenses.
Childcare.
Childcare is the classic one, right?
Classic.
Like before and after school care, pretty much any childcare that's necessary for work. All of
Right.
this is a Section 7 expense. And as you know, because you are a family law lawyer, and you should probably know this, those
do.
expenses are divided in proportion to people's income. So
Right.
if you earn much more than the other person, you are going to pay much more than half of that expense.
Right.
And that's true of, basically any parenting circumstance that
Right.
people have. But then there's the other expenses that you mentioned, so
Right.
clothing and binders and pencils, all of those things, those are not special expenses. Those are what we call ordinary expenses.
Right.
Right? And
That still have to be paid.
they do still have to be paid, unless you've got very sticky fingers indeed. So these expenses, it kind of depends on how you're dealing with parenting. So if you have what people would say like the classic weekend dad kind of scenario where one parent has much more parenting time than the other, the parent who is getting child support in that scenario is supposed to be paying for those things out of the child support amount. That's what the child support is partially intended to cover. So if that's your scenario, you're basically not really splitting those kinds of expenses. The other scenarios we call shared parenting. Can you tell me what happens in shared parenting?
Shared parenting means that you're parenting relatively equally or around a 60-40 to 50-50 parenting.
Right. And so in that scenario, it would probably be unfair if one parent was having to buy all the clothes and buy all of the traffic keepers and binders and pencils and that stuff. So the question then becomes, how do you actually divide that stuff?
Yeah, and it's not exactly clear in the law. So if the two parents can agree on having a credit card just for the kids' expenses or a bank account that they each equally contribute to, that's if the parents get along relatively well. Or you can also, build into an agreement winter coats and laptops are going to be shared equally.
Sure.
So it's...
Yeah, so in the end, though, there is no law that requires anyone to pay for socks and binders and that sort of thing. And you'd be pretty unlikely to get a judge ordering anyone to reimburse somebody else for $16 in school supplies. So it's fundamentally a matter of what people can agree on. And if they can't, you may find yourself, unfortunately, having just to eat your share of the school expense. It's a reality, but there's diminishing returns here, and it just doesn't make sense to pursue it otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's the answer, such as it is.
Well, thank you, Alex. That was
Yes.
very informative.
I don't know about that, but it was a pleasure meeting with you and having the conversation.
And hopefully it'll help you with your back-to-school expenses.
Thanks.